Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree, merry, merry king of the bushes he. Laugh, Kookaburra gay, your life must be. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's Adam Ratliff with Adam So Fun, and we are in part 2 of the Helen Godden Feather Friends Volume 1 Stitch Out of the Kingfisher. So last week I taught you how to go in and digitize those designs a little bit, add some color blocking if you're not going to be painting them. If you are, Helen has some classes. Make sure you check out her website. I'll link it below where you can see how she paints and then stitches. Again, I can't paint in the lines, so I'm having Pro Stitcher just kind of stitching the lines for me. But definitely go check out Helen's website. She has a lot of stuff there that you can't get at ProStitcher.com, but also go get the designs at ProStitcher.com. Don't forget, code ASF10 will save you an additional 10% off your purchase. Yay! But I taught you how to go in and color block those designs, and I also just totally embarrassed myself because I didn't know how to pronounce any of the bird names. So I'm here as, this is going to be my, what's the word I'm looking for? This is my comeback. That's not the word I'm looking for, but I can't think of the word, so it's going to be my comeback. Redemption. I'm here to redeem myself. So one, Ben came up and said, "You've never heard the Kookaburra song?" And I hadn't, so there you go. Now I sang it to you. I'm going to go back and read the bird names so I can make up for myself and redeem myself. So we have a galah. We have the budgerigar. We have the kookaburra. You have a zebra finch. We also have the kingfisher, and those are in this set. There is a volume 2 set. Where did I put that? I know I opened it. Oh, in the Feathered Friends volume 2 set, there is the Eastern Roselia. I believe that's what's on my shirt. That's what we're gonna call it. I'm wearing my bird shirt today. There's a king parrot, a magpie, and a wren. So you can have all of the Feathered Friends in your library, and you can download them straight to your Pro Stitcher because now we have Pro Stitcher Connect, which I am running on my machine. So we're going to stitch this out. First thing first, I'm going to go to my computer. I'm going to show you we'd have to do a little bit of changes. We have to do some recoloring to make the stitch out right. And so I'm going to show you what's going to happen if you don't do that. And then once we have that set, the design will get loaded onto a USB stick into the machine. I already did all that stuff because I already made the first part of this video. And then we're going to go stitch it out. So I will be right back after we do the computer stuff. All right, everyone, here we are. We are in Pro Stitcher Designer again, and we have to do a few things before we actually take this and stitch it out. So far we have added our color. We've done the pieces that we want. We have our design. So here's my Kingfisher design. If I were to send this over to Pro Stitcher, so I'm just on my home tab, I'm going to click on send. It's going to say, do you want me to do this? I'm going to say yes. It's going to think for a second, and then I'll click on Pro Stitcher. Here's my design. Anywhere there's two colors that are two fills that are the same color, it adds this line. It connects them. I found this out on a project I was doing maybe a year ago. So we can't have the same colors for each element or you get this line. Every jump that we see in Pro Stitcher Designer really is a connected stitched line in Pro Stitcher. I don't know why it does this. I'm not a programmer. I always say I hit start and make things pretty. So I'm going to clear this. We're going to jump over back into Designer. So the easiest thing I found is that we're just going to recolor this. So we have 20 pieces. Well, 21 counting the Helen's design. So what I'm going to do is just start at the top. So here's my piece 1. It's already this blue, so I don't have to change it. So I'll go to number 2, and I'm going to right click on the number 2 color. And now if I look, I have my pieces red, my pieces change colored. So these are going to be my 2 blue pieces. So you kind of have to remember, and maybe it's a good idea, I'm going to undo that. Maybe it's a good idea that you screenshot this or you save this. Save this as a different file. I actually saved mine differently. So this is my _1 Kingfisher block file because I was going to make some changes and I wanted the original. So the other thing, if I look over on my sidebar, you can see right here, it shows my glide color. I'm using a glide color palette down here. If I hit number 2 and I right click, it will split those into two different pieces too. This is kind of like the embroidery stuff. So, so now I have my blue piece and my red piece. They're still both gonna stitch blue. I'm gonna stitch them blue, but I need to recolor them so I don't get that jump. This is piece 3, and although I am gonna stitch this color, it's supposed to be like a black beak, but I'm gonna do it brown with a brown eye because I have the black stitching in the background and I don't want them to be the same color. I'm still gonna change this. So I'm gonna change this to green. Oh, I need to select it and change it to green. My leaves are this 23 green, so you're gonna see it stay up here instead of jump down with the other color. I'll go on 4, and I'm just clicking the design, or clicking the number, and then right-clicking the color in the color palette. I have not changed for it to be a left click. Some people have changed their settings. I have not changed my settings. 6 will be this green, 7 will be brown, and I'm just going to continue this until I have all of my colors out on my screen. I like to just follow the color makeup or the numbers on the bottom, because then I know if I miss anything. Like I said, I have 20 colors in this, so I should get to number 20. I'm going to skip 18 and 19. Or I'm going to skip 19 and 20, actually, because I don't want to change. I have 21, including Helen's, and I want to keep Helen's black, and I don't want anything white because I want to be able to see it. So 19 is now going to be 21, and 20 is going to be 22. So now I have all of these different colors. Some of them look the same. It's just because of this color palette. But I can see that I have 21 different elements over here on my sidebar. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to save this. There we are. And I'm going to send this over to Pro Stitcher because I want to see what it's going to look like. Waiting, jump over to Pro Stitcher. And now we see we have a lot of jumps. And that's what we want. We want these jumps. I'm going to turn my jumps to 0. I don't like my machine to jump and do those tie-offs itself. I don't want to have to go back and trim these. So every time there's a jump, my machine will stop. I'll do my own tie-off, do my own pull-up. So let me see. The other thing I want to do, because this gets really confusing, because it's coming in as one piece. We don't have, if you look at my sidebar over here, I don't have a bunch of different pieces, because how I'm sending this and how I'm doing it, it's one piece. It's basically like I selected the whole screen and baselined it. So I have to do my stitch out order and everything I want over in Pro Stitcher Designer before I get here. So one other thing I like to do, I know it's starting up here. I know it's going to stitch my blue piece up here, and then it's going to stitch my blue back. The one thing I don't know is how many jumps there are. So I'm going to keep my computer over by my long arm. I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, okay, this is what it's stitching first. And if I turn these other things off, I'll leave the blue on. I can turn these other pieces off and see. Oh, I just messed that up. Let me zoom into here. I can see that it's going to start up here. Do I have my starts and ends? There we are. It's going to start up here. And there are some jumps in this design. So it's going to start, and then it's going to jump, and then it's going to go, and it's going to jump. It looks like it's just doing like a tie-off there. I might skip that jump. How weird. Yeah, my dog is making noise behind me. It looks like it's jumping here to just do a tie-off and move. So I might just skip that jump and move my start point down to my back, because I don't remember putting that one in there. But I'm going to leave this open so I can see. Okay, I know I'm going to have one jump here. If I come down to my back, I know that there was a jump. It's going to start here. There's a jump. Let me turn that brown off. I'm almost positive there was a jump on this guy too. That's down here. There's 2. So it just shows me, okay, now this element is done. Then I can see that I'm going on to the beak, so I'll have a color change. And I am going to stitch this I'm going to stitch with 623 bottom line on my bobbin, and then I'm just going to change the top color. So I'm going to keep that 623 bottom line in the bobbin the whole time. As if I were doing embroidery, I don't tend to change the bobbin color with the top color. So yeah, we're going to save this. Oh, I'm not going to save this. I'm going to come over here. This is already saved, but I'm going to come over here. And since this is good and I can see it and I like it, I'm going to File, Save, Selected, and I have it thumb drive on my machine already, a USB. I already made a Helen file, and I can click Design, and I can clear and call this Kingfisher. That's not Kingfisher. F-I-N. And save. And now I have my files ready to go to my Pro Stitcher, so we'll see you over there. All right, everyone, so here I am. I do have my computer sitting here because, like I said in the video, I'm going to keep the computer here so I know what's going on. And I can add pieces and hide pieces by hitting that little eye as I go, so I know what's going to happen and where it's going to go next. I can also use the new start end under the Pro Stitcher tab to make sure I know where those jumps are going and kind of just to eyeball things. We're starting with blue, so I have my blue thread. Today I'm stitching with my, what am I using? Magnifico. We're using Magnifico today. Everything is Magnifico except I'm using some twist. I don't have a brown Magnifico. Can you believe that? So I am using, for the beak and the eye, I am keeping it brown, so I'm going to use a twist that I have. I think this is medium brown and light brown. I also had a medium brown and black, but this might be medium brown and dark brown. Don't use your teeth. This one might work. I don't know. I'm going to stitch out the blue, and then I'm going to color audition. You'll see me do that, and then I will decide from there. I kind of like the dark a little bit better, but I think I might like the light a little bit better because I want to see how it's going to play on the white background. I'm not using white today. I am using a gray. This is a very light gray. It's probably not going to show up, but it will give you a little bit of a shine, so we're going to see. But this is one of those things. Stitch a test block. See the colors you like. Maybe even just stitch some back and forth with those colors before you pick them, and then you'll know if you like them or not. And then here's my yellow, a nice bright yellow because I have a nice navy blue, and I think those are going to really pop together. So I'm going to move you over to the machine. We're going to talk about stitching this out. We'll see you back here in a second. All right, so here we are at my Pro Stitcher tablet. A few things that we need to know. I've already placed my design. I know where I want it. This design is going to stitch out 12 by 12, but I'm on my Modify Resize tab. I wanted to do a quick basting stitch. So what I did is I went to View. I always tell people when I teach, don't come here because you turn things off that you need and then you're confused. But I did turn on my bounds. And the bounds is the blue box around this design. Did I just move it? I drag and dropped it. Undo. So I'm going to turn bounds off. If you look at the outside, there's a blue box. When I hit bounds, that blue box disappears. The bounds of a design is if you were to take the highest point, the lowest point, the farthest left and farthest right points, and you made a box using those 4 points, that is going to be your bounding box. So right now it is this blue one. If I were to rotate it, it doesn't stay square on there. See how that, see I'm going to refresh. See how my bounding box is taking the north, south, east, and west, the highest points, and making a box out of that. I'm going to undo. So I wanted to stitch a basting stitch, almost like if you were to pre-baste an embroidery project. This is something that you often do. It has the basting stitches first. So what I did is I made my design bigger. So if I go to Modify Resize, I can see over here it's 12.38. And I just made it a little bit bigger. I increased my stitch length to 5. I like to baste at 5. And I stitched this out. So if I turn you down, you can see that I have my box out here. Now that's gonna be outside my design. I can rip it off later. If I'm gonna make something out of this, I could cut it off and that's gonna be in my seam allowance. So I don't really have to worry about it, but I wanted to let you know that I did that. So there's my design. So the first thing I have to do, I have to come back and resize this to 12. And I'm just gonna type it in because I can. It's faster. Bottom house refresh. So now we're ready to stitch. I'm going back to my view tab. Oops, you can't really see the whole screen. There we are. So I went to my view tab. I'm going to turn those bounds off. I don't leave them on. These are my 5 options I like on in the view tab. Scroll, area, design, jumps, start and end. Now everything's ready. It's ready to stitch. I've put it where I want it and all that's good to go. So I'm going to bottom house refresh. I'm going to come back to my Pro Stitcher tab. I'm going to check my stitches per inch. I'm going to stitch at 13 stitches per inch. I have my cruise set at 200. Anytime you're running Pro Stitcher, it should be at least at 175. This has nothing to do with how fast your machine moves. This is only to do with how fast the needle moves all the time. This is cruise like cruise control in your car. You can set it at this speed. The machine has to go at least 200 stitches per minute, but it can go faster. I always say when you're going down the freeway and you need to get around the truck, but you're in cruise control, you can gun it and go faster, but when you take your foot off the wheel, you're gonna slow back down to that cruise speed. So that's that 200. I also wanna change, because I just upgraded to Connect yesterday. So I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna look at some of my settings, make sure they're the way I like. Opti stitch, I like to stitch acceleration 40, speed percent anywhere from 70 to 80. I wanna make sure my auto jumps are 0, because I like to do my own tie-offs. Let me make sure my pull up and pull up auto are on. I don't use pause delay, but I probably should, especially on this. So we're gonna turn my pause delay on. This means it's gonna stitch for 2 seconds and then stop so I can cut my thread. You'll probably see me cutting thread around that. And I think that's it. So let me go to my Pro Stitcher tab. All of my selections are good over there. I'm gonna do my own tie-offs. I'm going to find my scissors. And I know, and I'm gonna zoom into this, I know that it's going to start here, stitch. I'm gonna have one jump over here to do the second part of that head. So we're gonna go off and do that. So I'm gonna hit run and we're going to come down here so you can watch. I can turn the light up. Ooh, there we are. I'm holding my top thread. I'll hit proceed. It's gonna go and stitch to bring that thread up. Pick up, and I am using 623 silver bottom line. I'm gonna hit resume. Pause delay. I'm gonna actually turn that off because I'm already annoyed with it. So this is my first jump. Also, if you look back here, this was my first practice of my gala. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and I hope it doesn't mean something else. There we are. I know I have one jump. I'm just gonna bring it over here because I'm pretty sure it's gonna start right there. Hold both my threads. All right, long jump pause. Oops. Do my tie on. So there's my first piece stitched out. Now this is, I'm gonna move you back up to the top. So this is the first spot. Remember when we were looking at the screen, I had that weird jump in here and I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm gonna hit the X. And I want to come up to, let me get my tabs up here, because the Pro Stitcher Designer showed a jump from like here to here. So I'm going to go to Pro Stitcher, I'm going to go New Start End, and I want to make sure that the machine is going to stitch and start where I want it to. So I'm gonna hit my jumps down. We've already stitched this. So that's the first jump that we've already done. I'm gonna hit down one more time and it's going to the bird's back. This is exactly what I wanted. It did show there was an extra little jump there in Pro Stitcher Designer, but I don't know why I did that, and it's not here in Pro Stitcher, so I'm okay. We'll zoom this down, and now we're gonna stitch that bird back. So I can move my machine over here. I like to move it near where it's gonna start, but not exactly on it. We'll tilt you down, and we're gonna hit resume. So it will start where I move that start point. Now I'm singing the Kookaburra song. I love watching these things stitch out. You're like watching it in action. So let me see. You're watching it like come to life. I usually would hit my tie off stitch there, but I didn't. Now I'm gonna start the bottom part. And I'm gonna move you back some because I think it might hit. All right, so it just finished. Let's see. And now we're done with the blue, I'm pretty sure. We're gonna do the same thing that we did a second ago. I'm gonna jump back up to the top because I showed another jump in there. So I'm going to my Pro Stitcher tab, new start end. I'm gonna use my down arrow for my jumps. So that's where I just started. And I think it's gonna jump up here to the beak. And it did, so I can see my start point up here. So now I have to change threads. So we're going to change threads. I'm gonna zoom in. Oh, I love that texture. So this is how I'm gonna audition those threads for me. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out a bunch and I'm gonna puddle it, but I wanna puddle it with the blue. I wanna see what it's gonna look like with that blue there. Is it a huge difference? No. I do think I like the way the light works a little bit better. Oh, can you even see both of those? There we are. Although we need to be zoomed in. I like the way this plays a little bit better than that. It's very subtle. It's a very subtle difference, but I'm gonna go with the light. But if I were auditioning threads on a quilt, that's what I do. I pull some out, I see it. If there's multiple colors, I make sure that I'm covering everything. And let me change this and we'll see you right back here. All right, so I've changed my thread. I already know my start point is at the beak. So I'm going to just hit resume. You'll notice I didn't test my tension or anything. I'm using the same type of thread. So usually I don't. I just trust it to work. I know my bobbin's set. I use my TOA. All right, so I have a long jump pause. This is a good example. Let me cut this really quick. This is a good example of the colors overlapping. So I really like that color. So I'm gonna zoom in. So you'll see that I have color overlap right here. This is what I meant earlier. I didn't really worry about that. We're gonna have some in every section. It's gonna be okay in the long run. Well, we're gonna see. Hopefully it's gonna be okay and I'm not a liar. How about that? But I also have something weird going on the screen. I'm pretty sure that I don't have any more sections of brown, but I do wanna check it. So I'm gonna hit long jump pause because I can't see where this is jumping. It looks like it's jumping to there, but I'm gonna go to my Pro Stitcher, new start in, hit my jump down, and it is. So this is gonna be one of those white sections. So that's where I'm gonna change to gray. And I'm going to continue this. The two gray pieces, let me zoom out. The two gray pieces are both gonna stitch out in one full pass. And I believe both the yellows stitch out in one full pass. So I'm gonna do both of those. We'll speed up. You can just watch and sing the Kookaburra song to yourself while it stitches out. All right, I think the bird is done. I'm going to my Pro Stitcher, new start in, and making sure I jump to the leaves. Yeah, so the bird is done. Oops. There we are. So it looks kind of like a bird. I would say yes. I actually like how that gray looks, even though it is a very light gray on white. You get the idea. And when this stitches in the details of actually the black going in, I think it's gonna look fantastic. So now I'm going on to green, and we have to go do those like 12 leaves. All right, so now we're going in. I just changed to green. For those of you who are coming to the Kansas City show, remind me, I need a new pair of scissors. It's not cutting sharp anymore. So they're gonna be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 up there. So here we go. I'll see you when these are done. All right, there is our Kingfisher bird. We are fully stitched out, although it says long jump pause. Do we have, what are we going to? 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's it want to go? Let me see, pro stitcher, new start, end. I have the 4 leaves. Jumps, 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 jumps. Move my down. Oh, it wants to do the outline. It wants to do the black. I'm so dumb. So the black is going to start right here, because that was my last start. Okay, so the black is going to start right there. I was like, what else do we have to do? This is where the magic happens, because right now, we're going to point back down. I mean, that looks pretty cool. I mean, you could definitely do this on something. I would put the foot in if you weren't going to do it, and then maybe you stitch the branch and use this as just like kind of a backgroundy thing. Again, I'm going to use what the amazing Helen designed. Let me change my thread to black and we'll see you here in a second. Oh my gosh, I'm so fun. This is the best part. All right, so I've changed the black thread. I'm gonna get you zoomed in nice and good, because really this is where the magic happens, when it starts stitching everything. So up to now, I've been stitching at 13 stitches per inch. I'm gonna change it back down to 12. Is it really gonna matter? No. I made that bounding box. One of the things the bounding box is gonna do is kind of like stitching in the ditch. So anytime you stitch something before you add the fill, that stitching holds everything there. It holds it all down. You know, you'll see a few ripples because we get really dense stitching. This dense stitching might shift some stuff. I like to do the dense stitching first and then add Helen's design on top. You could definitely do it the opposite way, and that would keep everything from moving. All totally up to you. It's your personal preference. But we're going to stitch this, and oh, I'm so excited. And I will just let you watch and enjoy. Oh, sorry, by the way, that I kept getting into the light. I am trying to work around the camera. There is something magical watching this stitch out and adding the details. Like, it just kind of comes to life. I love that I use the lighter colors because you can really see it pop. And now we have the full design. Oops, going the wrong way. You can see all of the detail in the bird. The branches and the leaves. Could you go in and add brown to all the branch? You could. Maybe that's for you to paint. I don't know. This is just something different, something outside the box. You know me, I like to go outside the box. I love this. Oh my gosh. Helen, thank you so much for releasing these designs because it gives us, those people who are not artistic, the ability to feel like we're artistic with just a little bit of computer work. Oh my gosh, and the detail. Think of this like if it was on an even puffier batting. I'm just using a piece of, this is a scrap something. This is a polyester. It's a Quilter's Dream Poly, and just some white fabric from Connecting Threads. Now I want to show you one thing because like I said, I had stitched this out before. I wonder if I turned this on, if the lights here might help for this a little bit. Well, it definitely gets bright. Wow, look how bright that bird looks. Oh my gosh, I love it in that light. So we changed the density of those stitches, right? I think I might have to turn that off. We changed the density of the stitches because I said when I stitched it the beginning, the first one, I wasn't a big fan. So these are 3.5. I'm gonna move up to the gauze and I'm gonna zoom in, going the wrong way. And so these are at 5. So you'll notice not as dense. Oh, well, I zoomed in. The lines are not as dense. There's probably two of the Kingfisher to every one of these. Maybe not 2 because it's not 2.5, it's 3.5. But you can see the color, everything's okay, but it's just not, there's something about this one that doesn't talk to me like this one does. You can really see the difference there. So, but try it. I also didn't like the colors I picked. I found out that I needed to be way more vibrant than I thought. Because the top of that bird head, right there, is a light pink and it just reads white. So you have to be a lot, because we're not embroidering, it's not so close and dense. You do have to be more vibrant than you think. It's like when you're doing stage makeup for you theater people. But like leaves there compared to leaves here, more vibrant, and I just love that extra dense stitching. Oh, it's beautiful. I need to take a picture. So we'll see you back here in a second because it is done, baby. All right, everyone, so that is stitching out the Helen Godden Feather Friends Volume 1 Kingfisher design. We went into Pro Stitcher Designer, we color blocked that pattern, and then we went in, changed those colors. So today we had to change those colors, so we made sure we didn't get those connecting stitches. We went in, we stitched the baby out. We had it trace bounds. I forgot to tell you how to trace bounds. Oh my gosh. Let me bring you back to the machine. I'll record it with my phone and then I'll just plug it in right here. All right, so I have this design. I have the bounds on. I went up to my view tab, did all that. If I want to stitch just this bounding box, just the blue box, it's the invisible box, it's not part of the design. If I turn it off, the bounds will disappear. If I want to stitch that, I'm going to go to my Pro Stitcher tab, quilt and the ribbon, and down here you have trace bounds, and then grayed out is trace area. If I select trace bounds and I turn it green, then when I hit run, Pro Stitcher is only going to stitch the blue box. It's going to disregard any design there. It is going to stitch this imaginary bounding box around the design. Most of the time we don't even see it because we don't leave bounds on. I never leave bounds on. I just happen to stitch it for this to hold everything in place. But that's how you trace bounds. Same thing if you wanted to stitch your area, you could select trace area. It disregards your pattern and it only stitches that area. But I had it trace the bounds, and you just learned how to do that. And then I went in and resized it back to the original size, and we stitched it out. It looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, I love that last step of stitching that design in. You have all of your different birds to choose from. You have 5 in your first set, 4 in your second set. Make sure you pick those up. You could do this in some, you can make pillows. Use this as the pillow front, throw a pillow back on. You could make a quilt out of this. One of the things I did when I first started, what if you bought these designs, you just stitched them out on white like I did, threw some sashing in them and to make blocks, and then you gave it to a grandchild, niece, nephew, maybe your adult child, and use them as coloring book pages. Get some fabric markers, and then they have something that they can color on, and you have a keepsake. So it was one of the things I did. I actually took coloring book pages and I digitized them and stitched them out on white so that we could color them and just use some fabric markers on. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. I went straight to here, but I got to rewind back to when I first got my machine and things I could think about. So that was it. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you check out ProStitcher.com and the Helen Godden designs. She has the 2 feathered friends, but she also has 2 background fills. Check out HelenGodden.com. I will link her below. Check out the videos where she shows and goes through how to stitch these out. I believe if you purchase the designs, you get a discount on those, but you're going to have to check with someone else because I'm not sure, but I think that's happening. If not, like, email me and I can find out if you purchased them and you didn't know about this and you want to get those videos, because you definitely should check out stuff. Helen is fantastic. Like I said in the last video, love her. Don't forget, when you're shopping at ProStitcher.com, anything ProStitcher.com, digital designs, ASF10, like Adam's So Fun 10, will save you an additional 10% off your purchase. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when more videos drop. I already have things that I have to get loaded so I can make some videos for the next round. I know what the next 2 are going to be. I think you might like them. I know I will. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for joining me. Make sure, if you haven't, go watch the first one where we actually created this design, the color blocking part, and yeah, play with those fills. Oh, like, woo, I was this years old when I learned that you can make background or make custom fills for our designs. We'll see you in the next video, and at the end of the day, it's just quilting. We want to have a good time, baby. See you soon.